What's up, guys? It's John Acquaviva, and today we're going to be reacting to everything that's happened since Donald Trump surrendered to the Fulton County Jail, where he was booked. He had this mugshot taken, and it's been exactly what Democrats were hoping it wouldn't be. Democrats were waiting for this mugshot since the first indictment. In reality, they've been waiting for this mugshot since 2015, right? But they've been wanting to get Trump in jail since then. However, it turns out that they were expecting something very different to what the mugshot actually turned out to be. They were expecting something more like this, right? Probably the worst picture ever taken of Trump, because that way they'd be able to use it to ridicule him, to belittle him. However, the outcome of the mugshot, as you've already probably seen, was very different to that. Now listen, the first thing that comes to mind is, how is it possible that in 2023 in America, Fulton County Jail, I know that there's a lot of budgeting issues, mainly due to left-wing politics in America when it comes to police forces across the country. However, how is it possible that they have a worse resolution camera to take the mugshots than the one that was used to take the mugshot of Pablo Escobar in Medellin in Colombia 50 years ago? That really is, I mean, someone has to just let me know, how's that possible? This is the kind of resolution that you'd expect from a $200 laptop, but even worse. And not just that, but the lighting is set up so that it's pretty much the worst possible condition to take a picture. You've got a source of light from one side that's really bright and basically none from the next, casting a shadow across your face, and still Donald Trump made it work. And well, I've already seen people with this mugshot printed out onto t-shirts, and I'm sure that it's going to become very, very prevalent in the next few months, because at the end of the day, I think this just sediments Donald Trump's position when it comes to the 4 indictments so far, and that is that this is politically motivated. This isn't just a justice system trying to punish people who have done things that they shouldn't have, because if that was the case, people like Joe Biden would be under much more scrutiny than Donald Trump has ever been. But it's politically motivated. It's seeking to basically overwhelm Donald Trump so that his attention, his resources, his focus can't be centered on what it should be, which is running his campaign, and instead he has to be bouncing around 4 different states so far to be able to manage what is likely to be court dates and trials that are going to start before the election, especially if Jack Smith has his way. So now let's check out what happened when Donald Trump arrived on Trump Force 1. This was the moment that he landed in Atlanta, Georgia, prior to getting booked and having his mugshot taken. And then we had the comments that he made after being booked and then released on a bail, $200,000 bail.
Thank you very much for being here. I really believe this is a very sad day for America. This should never happen. If you challenge an election, you should be able to challenge an election. I thought the election was a rigged election, a stolen election, and I should have every right to do that. As you know, you have many people that you've been watching over the years do the same thing, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Stacey Abrams or many others. When you have that great freedom to challenge, you have to be able to, otherwise you're going to have very dishonest elections. What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. And everybody knows it. I've never had such support. And that goes with the other ones too. What they're doing is election interference. They're trying to interfere with an election. There's never been anything like it in our country before. This is their way of campaigning. And this is one instance, but you have 3 other instances. It's election interference. So I want to thank you for being here. We did nothing wrong at all. And we have every right, every single right, to challenge an election that.
So that was the reaction after getting released, and the reaction from left-leaning personalities like Rob Reiner on Twitter was, there's no effing way that is Donald Trump's weight, because when Donald Trump was booked, he had his weight and his height recorded, and the height was 6'3" or 1.90 meters, and 215 pounds or 97.5 kilograms. Now, people like Rob Reiner said no effing way that's his weight. Kathy Griffin Griffin, the only reason she's been relevant for, obviously, is that photo shoot that she did a few years back that she has since managed to milk every extra ounce of attention from by posting over and over again whenever she becomes irrelevant, as she was before posting those pictures the first time. So Kathy Griffin, who can only be relevant for a few seconds when she does something outrageous regarding Trump, she said that that must mean that they just asked Trump what his weight was and they didn't actually weigh him. Now, keep in mind, these are the same woke celebrities, if you can call them the D-list celebrities, who for so long have said that if you make a comment about someone's weight, even if someone is actively promoting to their audience of highly impressionable, highly of a young audience, if they're promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, if they're promoting that being 200 pounds overweight is perfectly acceptable and people have to love you just how you are, if you were to say something criticizing that and saying that maybe this is not responsible, that this is maybe unhealthy, obviously you're called a fat shamer, you're called a bully. However, all the moral standards of the left go right out the window whenever it comes to criticizing not just whoever is on the right, but obviously the main person, which is Donald Trump, because at the end of the day, you can say anything about the worst person in the world, and it's completely valid and just and necessary, according to the leftist media and the woke celebrities on social media. So at the end of the day, when they have these double standards, and now apparently it turns out that what they had claimed for years, especially on the late night shows, just Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, constantly made digs at Donald Trump's weight, calling him obese, saying that the only thing that he did was sit around and eat McDonald's and drink Coke. Now apparently they have to contend with the fact that he weighs actually quite a good weight for his height. So anyways, that's just another thing that Democrats are just completely ridiculous with when it comes to the kind of criticism they throw at people who don't share their opinions. Now, one thing that I find interesting about this is that obviously everyone on the Trump base had been asking him to get back on Twitter basically since he left, because at the end of the day, Twitter is that platform, and especially now in the post-Elon Musk takeover, it's a platform where Donald Trump has the largest amount of his supporters, and I think that not using it is a big mistake. I think that continuing to be exclusively on Truth Social and his own website is just not the best way to manage your public image, because at the end of the day, I'm sure it's the case for many of you guys, as it is for me, that I only find out about what Donald Trump posts on Truth Social because I see it on Twitter or because I see it on some other social media, but never actually on Truth Social. I don't have an account on Truth Social, so I think that using his Twitter account, which let's remember is probably what ended up winning him the 2016 election, is something that he should start doing. Now, even though I've been wanting him to get back on Twitter for a while already, I think that he probably did it once again in the coolest way possible by posting his mugshot with the date and then with election interference, never surrender, and his website below. I think that's probably the best way he could have possibly returned. Now, it's going to be interesting to see if he's actually going to use his Twitter account from now on, if this was just a one-off. Some people have said that he's got some kind of agreement with Truth Social investors that doesn't allow him to use Twitter for a certain amount of time. I don't think that that's the case, but if it is, then it'll be interesting to see if that amount of time is going to lapse before, obviously, the campaign really kicks into gear once the Republican nominee, or in other words, once Donald Trump is announced to be the Republican nominee. Now, when it comes to Elon Musk posts that you can see on his Twitter page, he posted next level. Let's have a look at the impressions on the mugshot so far. It's got 700,000 likes, 60 million impressions in just under 4 hours since it was posted. So once again, I mean, this just goes to show that Democrats are really having a hard time as of late, and not just Democrats, but the GOP establishment, the rhinos, people like Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, even Ron DeSantis, which I think, once again, Ron DeSantis in this election cycle has really lost a lot of support that he had just a few months back, because at the end of the day, he's been acting like a double agent. He's been acting like someone who has been positioned within the Republican Party just to try and minimize Donald Trump's chances of winning. However, that's not been the case, and it's not going to be the case, because Ron DeSantis is just the worst version reputation of Trump in every way possible. Ron DeSantis tried to basically steal Trump's personality and Trump's charisma, but it's just completely alien to him, and that's why he always comes off as this very, very prepared politician, and he doesn't look genuine, he doesn't look organic, he always looks uncomfortable with the way he's acting, with the way he's speaking. It just doesn't come off as something that is his own, because it's not. It's Donald Trump's. He saw, okay, this worked for Donald Trump, this got Donald Trump the presidency, this got Donald Trump to continue to be, even now, and I think for quite a while, the most popular Republican politician by far. So I'm going to do exactly the same. And once again, when you're a politician and you're acting in a way that isn't your own, most people can tell right away that that's exactly what you're doing. That's why, regardless of what people say about Donald Trump, one thing that people can't say is that he's not himself. One of the criticisms that was always levied against Trump is that he spoke too much, that he didn't prepare his speeches, that he said too many things without thinking about the possible repercussions. But at the same time, that's precisely why so many people still think that he's the best man for the job of being president of the United States. So now, listen, I'm going to finish the video here, and we're going to obviously see what happens in the next few days and weeks. Let me know if you're going to be picking up a t-shirt with the mugshot picture on it, because I definitely am. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Till the next time, peace.